Well, that was a decent-sized break from this game. Time to make some more progress hunting down Metroids. Can't help wondering how much of the height of Samus's jumps is due to the strength of her armor, and how much is due to whatever it was that Chozo did to her DNA. The series was never all that clear about that as far as I remember. Again, most of what I know about Samus was learned through side materials rather than direct storytelling in the main games. Okay, definitely an interesting form of attack. And apparently the only way to destroy the thing that only does damage to our Aeon energy is to use the rapid-fire gun that uses Aeon energy. Kind of interesting, but considering how sparingly I use Aeon energy in the first place, that doesn't seem especially dangerous to me. Maybe I'm just not looking at it from the right angle. Anyway, that's another door that we're not going to be able to get through. I seriously feel like this game just goes overboard when it comes to setting up roadblocks for us compared to the other 2D Metroid games. Well, we're getting close to the next Metroid. That has to be worth something. Darn, I was hoping that path would lead us to the next Metroid instead of being a dead end with just an Aeon bar upgrade. Guess we're going back downwards a bit. Can't break through that ice, or crystals really, so we're not getting over there that way. At least the shell implies we're going in the right direction now. And again, we have a door that we're incapable of opening, one that needs a different proverbial key than the one we had to give up on just above it. As if I needed a reminder for why I decided to put this game aside for a while and LP something else until I cooled it down. Sure, it looks like there might be a few potential paths that might lead us to upgrades that would open those doors, but we don't know for sure at the moment if we're gonna find anything there. Right. Of course we need to get in there from some other direction. I swear I have more patience for these kinds of navigation puzzles when I'm actually sitting down and playing a game, rather than when I'm commenting on it after the fact. Right. Doesn't seem to be anything to grapple onto from here. I don't suppose there's another path further down, is there? Right. Of course not. That's blocked off my acid. Running out of nearby spots to check if there's a way forward. Or at least some direction that could be confused for forward nearby. Bloody tiring, I tell you. Not sure if I should chuckle or groan that the little guy pushed us back down. Yeah, I'm stumped. Especially since I doubt we're supposed to go back up the elevator. Still, if there's a way to get to the next Metroid, which we know is pretty close by, we don't have the means to get there at the moment. Sure, that Metroid is probably feeling pretty damn happy for itself since it's managed to avoid getting killed this way, but come on! Why? Why did they have to go out of their way to make the combat feel more satisfying than any other 2D Metroid game, but then make it such a pain in the ass to get to those fights that it becomes ridiculous? Ugh. Less than one clip back into this game, and I'm starting to think other games I'd rather be doing than this one within approximately the same genre. I could have moved on to Super Metroid, the ever-classic SNES title that redefined the series and that Zero Mission and Fusion used as inspiration. I could be doing Batman Arkham City, the sequel to Arkham Asylum that showed that series wasn't just a one-hit wonder. Hell, I could do Star Wars Fallen Order, a game that restored my faith in the Star Wars brand after EA's Battlefront 2 and the movie Rise of Skywalker made it very hard to so much as look at anything with the word Star Wars on it without feeling extremely depressed. Still, I should at the very least try to complete this clip before thinking of what else to do. After all, I put the first generation of Pokemon on pause for this game. So further down is the way to go for the moment. That's at least a little more comforting than me doing some more aimless wandering around hoping to figure out what to do next. Right, another warp station. Definitely not useful to us at the moment. Does this mean we're going to be able to get to the Metroid without having to go through that weird purple door? Well, this is certainly quite a long hallway, at least in comparison to a lot of other hallways we've been through around here. Well, at least that looks like a door we can open with what we've got on us right now. And that should open up the purple door we ran into earlier. May as well explore what else is in this hallway, though, before heading back up there. Thank you for confirming that's how we open that kind of door, though sadly enough I can't help feeling that the spacer isn't as important in this game as it was in all the other 2D titles. Mostly because the aiming in this game makes it so much easier to make precision shots that expanding the amount of space a single shot can hit feels a bit like overkill to me. Not that I'm complaining about getting the upgrade, just that I don't think it means as much here as it did in the other games. Just like the Spider Ball doesn't mean as much here as it did in AM2R, despite the fact that both games cover the same approximate events. It's kind of funny that I'm more likely to go through AM2R again in my free time, but less likely to do Samus Returns, when technically this game is better in many categories, including combat. At least with the exception of one particular boss fight. All because the exploration part of the game is much more of a pain in the ass here than usual. Funny, considering how I always felt one of the things I liked about the Metroid series was exploration. Okay, looks like the spacer adds some damage to our attack since we can take enemies down with fewer shots. Yeah, definitely a room we're supposed to fight a Metroid in. Though clearly not the specific room it's in right now. Annoying, but not much we can do about that. We just need to keep looking for the damn thing and hope that we can get at least a little healing before the fight. Since we stupidly took a lava bath before finding this guy who's going to be running away. As a side note, am I supposed to be worried that we can't re-enter that chamber the same way we came in or something? And yet another crystal barrier that we wouldn't be able to get through without the baby Metroid. They're really not being subtle in the least when it comes to hints that we're going to be dealing with more trouble after the point when we beat the Metroid Queen at the bottom. At the very least, they were more subtle about us having to deal with more trouble after we beat Mother Brain back in Zero Mission. But then, I suppose Zero Mission was worked on by a different team than this remake, even if they took some measure of inspiration from that, along with some other sources. And another hallway with a bit of a painful drop here. Have I mentioned that I'm not a fan of dealing with environmental hazards? I know they exist as an extra bit of tension, but they've been getting thrown around just as frequently as the numerous doors and other roadblocks that need specific things for us to break through. Maybe I just have lower tolerance levels than some other members of the audience, but I can't help feeling that overplaying that kind of card makes it feel less interesting and just plain annoying after a while. And we finally meet the son of a bitch we've been looking for, assuming of course that Metroids have anything that can be confused with gender anyway. Okay, I have absolutely no clue why I decided to jump on top of the damn thing when the only thing that does is hurt us for no reason at all. I can't be that rusty after the break, especially since I didn't take a break when I was recording it. The break was only when I was working on the commentary. Right, annoying bastard decided to run, and now it's time to head downwards to that chamber with lava to finish it off. I would say this Metroid is proving to be more trouble than it's worth, but then I suppose you could describe most of the Metroids on this planet that way. Of course, now I can't help wondering just how much Samus is charging the Federation for her to do this job that would be absolute suicide for anyone else. Not that we know how much she typically spends and for what. So, if we saw an obscenely large number, it probably wouldn't mean anything to us anyway. Just one of those random thoughts that pops into my head as we head where we know we need to go at the moment. It was either that or talk about how, for some reason, the noise the little bugs we've been killing make is striking my tired mind as cute at the moment. And that does it for that shaft. Now to head back to the annoying hallway to enter the lava room. never really sure how to react when I see signs we killed enemies we didn't even see yet. Seriously, once Samus has the long beam installed, just how far do her shots really go? Because it's certainly further than what the camera will let us see. Okay, getting the distinct feeling that I should have dropped down from somewhere above or something. And you've got to be kidding me. The bastard didn't run immediately to this room after we beat him in the previous chamber? Dear God, that means there's a third damn chamber dedicated to the exact same Metroid, and we're gonna have to run all the way back to that first room in order to reach it. I know, entirely my fault that we had to take another quick lava path there, and that we have to kill some of the same recurring enemies we've already slaughtered twice in this very same clip. I suppose that's what the fast forward button is for. But then it's hard to keep it fast forwarding when I decide to do something a little different in order to get that upgrade that's almost taunting us down there. Right, back to speeding along in order to reach what looks like a drop point inside the room where we first met this particular Metroid. Part of me wants to be embarrassed that I'm fast-forwarding at all, considering how short overall this game is. The other cannot get over the fact that I feel so much of what this game has thrown at us so far feels obnoxious, when it should feel like part of what makes the overall experience better overall. It's certainly not that I'm getting sick of this series as a whole, just that there's some aspects of this particular installment of the series that are itching at my nerves, and I'm still looking forward to getting to the other games in it. Though if I have this kind of feeling about Metroid Samus Returns, which many people consider a return to form for the series, then it is a damn good thing that I have yet to figure out how to get Metroid Other M to control properly on my emulator. I've probably said this before, but spending a missile in order to get a missile upgrade always kind of felt a little funny to me. It's probably better to find a lot of things funny rather than dwelling on the details that drive you crazy, I suppose. Well, we've opened that path, that's something. Unfortunately, it doesn't lead to anywhere where the damn Metroid is right now. It's just a shortcut to where the bastard is going to end up next. And there he is. Again? Probably should have tried to do a counter right then instead of dodging it, but considering how hard these things hit, and how many unnecessary hits we take over the course of a typical fight against them, it feels like a reasonable amount of caution here. Not that I really needed caution if the bastard was gonna run away that quickly. Please tell me he isn't gonna run away again. Please tell me this is gonna be the final fight against this particular monster so we can move on to the rest. course, I let myself lose an obscene amount of health in a hurry for the final round when we did pretty well in the first two. Still, at least the bastard couldn't take too much more abuse after the previous 2 rounds anyway. Seems about as good a point to save and then flush the next acid toilet. We're still making some good progress, even if part of me feels it's annoying due to just how many hoops we need to jump through just to strike off another one of the Metroids on the counter down there. Right, of course that suspicious-looking rock wasn't breakable. I swear it's like they thought up the Aeon Pulse just to justify shifting around what the hints to being able to break through surfaces are. It's not like I was an expert in either of the earlier games we'd gone through anyway.